Hi guys, and welcome to a new World Painter tutorial on sea arches. So this is something that kind of wasn't previously possible in World Painter, but we now have a new kind of caves layer, and this tutorial is going to basically just detail how to actually build a sea arch like you can see on your screen now, and also kind of how to try and build something from real life and actually do it in World Painter. You can actually, of course, build these sea arches with World Edit and actually just cut out the landscape, but it's kind of easier to do it from World Painter, and I kind of prefer to do it this way. So let's get started on the tutorial. So I've actually had a request to do a sea arch, and if you're wondering what a sea arch is, let's have a look at this picture here. So it's this kind of natural formed arch, and you can do this in World Painter. A lot of people actually think that you can't, but you can do it. You can also do it obviously with World Edit and actually just have a brush and kind of cut through, but we want to do that beforehand. We're kind of a little bit lazier, or we kind of want to just try stuff out, but there's loads of these different styles. But one thing that you want to do when you're creating actual natural terrain, as you can see in all of these pictures, you want to kind of have a look at the rough kind of shapes you want to go for. So this one's really boxy. This one's really tall and kind of goes over, but the kind of one that we're going to do is we're going to do this kind of rounded shaped one, very smooth shaped one. There's also these really cool things like this as well, and I'll go through how to make it above the sea level as well as kind of underneath. Actually, that one's really cool as well. So we're mainly going to base it off this one, so I'm going to try and actually build similar terrain. It won't be exactly the same in this tutorial to this terrain, but we're going to have a go at it. We're going to have a beach here, and we're going to have this kind of outcropping with this, and obviously if you guys are building, you could build some sort of cool wizard's tower or something on that, or a lighthouse. So let's get into World Painter and how to actually go about doing it. First thing I'm going to do, obviously, is start a new world. And what have we got? We got the ground level here. I'm actually going to drop this all the way down. I'm going to put it on flat. I'm going to drop this down by probably to about 30. So we've got the land here, and I'm going to actually build an island. I think it's going to be easier. So this is just going to be a water world. There's kind of ground at kind of 30, and the surface material is grass. That's fine. Seed, so that's fine. And all this stuff's fine. I'm going to call this sea arch test. There we go. So we're going to actually figure this out. So let's do create. And then we got our sea world here. So we're just going to grab a race terrain, and you guys can do this with me if you want to, and choose any of the brushes. I'm going to actually use the one that I picked up kind of in my first episode, I think it was, just to kind of create some sort of small island. And let's just kind of raise this around until it kind of peeks through. I'm going to whack the intensity up a little bit as well, as we're not really too right, but there we go. So we're now starting to form an island. And there we go. Build up around here. So with that picture, we can have this bay in here. For example, if we're going to do it, let's actually do it. Let's do it straight, I think. So we're going to have a kind of beach here. I'll just zoom in. I'm just going to not pull it back that much, but it's going to flatten out a little bit of this. So we've got the level, sea level at, where is it, 62. So I'm actually going to grab the kind of flatten tool around about 64 and just kind of make this beach a little bit more kind of prominent. There we go. So we've actually got kind of a really big beach, and then it goes into this hilly area. And I'm just going to smooth this out as well, just because I'm kind of going to be roughing it up in a second. Smooth this out a little bit. There we go. So we've got a nice kind of smooth beach. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this kind of tool again, and we're going to go up to the height. So we've got a height of 75 here, I think. I'm going to go to 76. Again, I'm going to grab one of these random tools. I'm going to actually grab this one, I think. There we go. So these are just ones I've picked up off the internet. You guys will do the same, and I'm just going to flatten this out until we get this kind of spike coming out, and I'm actually going to do it something like this. So we've got some cliffs on this side. We've then got this kind of bit that comes out here, and then we've got this kind of softer beach as well. So I'm just going to grab this here, put some cliffs here, because on that picture there was a couple of cliffs on the side. Let's see if we can do that. And then you'll notice that this is stupidly flat, and if we actually have a look at the 3D view, there you go. So it's actually not that tall at all, so we might have to come in here. I think we're going to have to raise this up a bit, so I'm just going to do the same thing. Raise up in the middle here, like this, and then again grab a selection of it. And yeah, we've got that tool selected, so I'm just going to grab this here and raise these kind of hills or these cliffs. We've got some more cliffs here, like that. Have a look at this now. And I'm actually going to bring this out just to make sure that we've got enough space. I have this really kind of crazy bit coming off. So that's pretty big now, I think. I'm going to have a quick look at this as well to make sure that it's all the right size before we actually start. So I'm going to just go to export. And I'm only really interested in that tiny little bit here. So we've only got... Well, actually, I'm going to go select those three. So I'm just going to export with all these kind of defaults. And it's done. There we go. Super fast. Let's jump into Minecraft. Find it. So sea arch test. Okay, so here we are on this arch. So I think that we actually do need a little bit bigger to kind of get that style, because otherwise this arch will be really, really small. So I need to raise this up probably about 10 more blocks, but let's have a look at this beach as well. So yeah, that beach, obviously it cuts off right here. But I'm kind of happy with those cliffs there. I only want slight cliffs, but I could have kind of a higher one, or I could have higher cliffs there. But this kind of beach, when we obviously put it with a beach kind of layer, will look fine. So let's just jump back out, come out of that. Definitely want this higher, so I'm going to grab it this time from... So we were on 80, so I'm going to go to... Go any higher than like 90 or something. 94, yeah, we'll grab it from 94, make this real cliffs here, and I'm going to be a bit rough on this side, and then again drag it across here. I'm being very, very rough with this kind of map in particular. I'm going to just also... I'll just flatten out a bit there. Extend these bits a little bit. Make another beach here. I'm also going to raise up this a little bit. Now let's have a look on the 3D view and have a look at that. So that I need to flatten out here, because we want, with this sea arch, we want it to be really straight. So there we go. I grab that again. So that's going to smooth it a little bit. So there we go. That's not too bad at all. And what I also want to do is I want to make it look like there was going to be two arches, and one was kind of fallen away. So I'm actually using this very strong bit here and put in a couple of rocks. I'm also going to put in another one there. Actually just drag that down. So there we go. So we've got a couple of these like small outcropping type rocks, as if the kind of sea has come in and taken it. There we go. So that looks okay. I'm also going to quickly just use this tool here, because this one that I've got here, and I'll try and find it for you guys, but I'm not sure if I actually can. This one's really good for actually making it kind of look a little bit more spiky. So there you go. Just got these bits. I'm just dragging out these a little bit randomly, like that. So let's have a look. So that kind of looks okay. I need to make this hill up here a little bit bigger to kind of make it look like it's kind of working here. So I'm just going to raise this. So it's actually got a bigger hill. I'm going to raise this section between these two. There we go. So it's kind of got this bit here, and now that should be kind of okay terrain-wise. Yeah, it's not too bad. It'll do for this tutorial. So first thing I'm going to do is grab this sand. I'm going to make the beach. So I've got my sand. Well, actually, first thing I'm going to do actually is get onto cliffs. So I'm going to import that cliff layer that I did in the first tutorial, which I've called, on mine at least, Lotso Rock, and above 60 degrees. So if you guys want that kind of setting, you can go to my first tutorial and actually grab that, and then we're just going to apply it to everything that's over 50 degrees. There we go. Create some cliffs. And if there's any on the other side, nope. So now if we have a look at that, that looks kind of a bit better. So we've got these really sheer cliffs here, and we've got these nice ones here. Actually, this kind of looks quite cool. And some other on the other side, and also this rock. So that'll do. We could obviously put rock on the top as well. I'm going to leave a bit of it for grass so that we can put some kind of trees on, or something like that. Next we're going to go to sand, and you could either use that kind of rocky shore that I had on my first tutorial, or just bare sand. I'm going to go with bare sand this time. And this time, at or below, I think probably about 65. And you can see that I'm just using the brush here and using the height down here to figure out kind of where I want this kind of to be. So 65, 64 would also do. So we're going to go at or below 65. See what that looks like. If it looks terrible, we'll take away. So we're just going to go there. And actually, I need to undo that and do accept on that custom lots of rock thing. And that should make it work. There we go. So we've got this around here. So we've now got cliffs, and we've also got this nice beach. So there we go. So that doesn't look too bad. These are a little bit weird, but we're just going to basically export that again. And this time I'm actually going to grab a little bit more of this side here. And we'll just export this, and I'll see you guys in game. Okay, so here we are in game. So this is actually a little bit bigger than I think it would fit with the terrain, but at least these cliffs here, where we've got this kind of really strong cliff, it kind of has worked out quite nicely. And if I was building on this, for example, and I had this nice big beach here, I'll probably smooth out this here, between the grass line there. But you could easily have kind of a path going up the side here to get onto the top. But that actually doesn't look too bad. We've also got the spawn thing. I need to turn that off before kind of doing that. But also these cliffs look quite cool. So we've now got to kind of decide, and this is something that with the sea arch especially, you need to kind of figure out the actual height of your arch, whether kind of it's going to be the highest, if that makes sense. So I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to go, I think the top of it should be around about here. So I'm going to step down here, I'm going to look, and my Y is about 90. So I'm just going to grab a pen and actually write this down physically, so I can actually have a look. So we've got 90, that's fine. I'm also going to drop down into the water, and this one actually goes down pretty deep, but we could obviously have it down on this layer as well, so that it cuts down underneath the water as well. It doesn't really matter actually. I think I'm just going to go for like 54 or something like that for this. So we want a kind of an arch just going all the way over here to here, so that's going to be quite big. So probably over 20 blocks, but we'll have a kind of experiment with that. So now let's jump back into World Painter. I'm also going to paint these rocks here. I don't want that one to be sand. That one doesn't look too bad actually with sand and stuff, but I want that one to be rock as well. So I'm going to just switch those as well. So let's jump out, go into here, and I'm going to grab the rock, a mixture of stone and cobble. And I'm going to do only on land, for example, just to do the top layer. And just go boom, boom, like that. And that'll just make those two rocks. And this actual custom, this kind of terrain here, it's a mixture of stone and cobblestone, so it tells you anyway. I'm actually going to use my custom terrain because it's got kind of dirt and gravel and mossy cobblestone and all that kind of stuff, which works with the texture pack. And I kind of use it for the kind of rocks as well. It gives it a bit more variation. So now we're going to have a look at this, and we're going to actually create what's called a cave layer. So I haven't actually gone over these yet, but I will be going through caves and caverns and stuff in a lot more detail in a further kind of tutorial, but this is more of a specific one. So we're just going to go onto this plus here, just like we did the custom trees. We're actually going to go to add a custom cave tunnel layer, and this is quite a new kind of addition to World Painter, and as you can see it looks really cool. It's got this nice graphic on it. So the ceiling, now I'll actually go through this step by step with you guys just to make sure that you kind of understand what we're trying to do and how we're going to try and get this sea arch. And this is very kind of particular to the sea arch. So we've got fixed level, and when we went into game I wrote that down as 90. So that's going to be the highest it's going to go. Obviously if you see on the side here it goes up even higher, and if you have massive mountains go up to 255 or whatever, it will happen there. This obviously looks really straight as well. So what we're going to do is going to do variation. And you can see what this does. It varies the actual top. You don't want to go too crazy with this, because you can see there's going to be a spike that's going to actually block the cave, and this is going to go up way too high. And you don't want to actually go through the ceiling, and you can do that. So I'm just going to do variation 5 and roughness. I'm going to turn that up to 3. I always turn it up to 3. Material here, it's mainly going to be stone. But what we're going to do is we're going to go in, we're going to press that button, click to select. We're going to actually do our own. So I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. There we go. So make that bigger. So it's going to be mainly your stone. Going to add a material, and we're going to add in cobblestone. Let's go for something like 300 for that. There we go. And we're also going to add in mossy cobblestone as well. This is a sea cave after all. So where is mossy cobblestone? It's like 48. There we go. And we're going to just have, I don't know, 200 or something like that. Now for lighting, you can actually light up this cave kind of using glowstone. So we're going to add that in as a layer. So glowstone is 89, I think. There we go, 89. And we're just going to have 20 on this. And the reason I'm going to light this up, it does look cool. but also it'll show you guys when I'm actually going inside. So we've got that kind of layers up there. Next we're going to go to the floor, and like I counted before, I actually counted it about 54 is where I kind of went it. I'm actually going to go a little bit down to maybe 50, 51 or something like that. And yet again, add a bit of variation, otherwise you're going to have this perfectly flat kind of bottom of the cave and it'll look weird. So I'm just going to go up. I'm going to just put a couple more in this to 11 or something, maybe roughen it up a bit to 2 so you got these bigger spikes. And this is underwater, so we're going to go with mainly stone, some cobblestone, and cobblestone will actually just go to 300 again, just to keep things kind of even, and mossy cobblestone because it is underwater. So if we grab mossy cobblestone, and I'm going to do, I don't know, 200 I think again, something like that, that will do. And we're going to go OK. And then we've got the walls, and what this does, the bottom width and top width, that will actually kind of curve it. So if we were having a look at this, this is kind of, well, it has got a straight edge in the curve, so it's going to be complicated. With World Painter, it'll just kind of come up with a curve, or it'll do a kind of very boxy one. So the actual lower you get, if you do it, for example, on like 1, you actually get basically just a box arch. So it won't look amazing, but it's good for stuff like dwarven cave entrances, where you actually want it kind of square, so that when you're actually kind of detailing it and building the dwarven part, it'll kind of already do that, and you won't have to cut away so much stone. We're going to try out 10, and you do have to trial this a little bit. So we're going to go for 10, and again, walls material. Change this to stone, add material, we're going to go to cobblestone. And yet again, I think we went for 300, and add material. Mossy cobblestone, you guys already know exactly what's going to be happening. So I'm just basically trying to keep this cave looking the same as the kind of cave layer that we have kind of outside. And I'm just going to go with 200 and do OK. So we've got that as well. So I'm trying to keep these layers, in a way, the same as the cliff layer that I kind of set before, except for without the gravel, because always when you hit a block, gravel will fall out of the ceiling, for example, or the sides of the walls. So I kind of omit that, and I kind of don't have that in the walls, but you can, obviously, with walls you can do it, with floor you can do it. Another thing we want to do down here on options, you can actually remove the water or lava. That'll just cut that out as soon as you see it. We don't want that, we want it to be a sea one, so we're going to go flood the caves tunnels. And this is where you can change the level, and you can see up here. Now, you don't want to do that. We want to have it the same as the kind of level of the sea. So it's on 62. You can also flood it with lava. Obviously, we don't want to do that. Now, it defaults as the color as being black. I don't really like the black because it doesn't show up very well. So I'm going to go for, I don't know, turquoise maybe? Let's try out turquoise, and we're just going to hit OK. So now we've got it on a brush, and the kind of brush that I use for this is a very kind of harsh brush, and I use the constant circle one. So I'm just going to turn this down a little bit and kind of look at how kind of wide I want this. And I think I'm going to go from here to here. Now, there is a tool you can actually do to map out things already. I'll show you that quickly. We're going to go to layers, and you've got annotations here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to go, yeah, maybe I want that there. And basically what this layer does is it allows you to paint whatever the hell you want on it. It's quite useful in that way. You can also put in text and stuff, but I'm going to go, I want my sea arch to kind of be, well, I've got this kind of natural bit here. I kind of want it to cut in here and then come out. Actually go a little bit here. So this is kind of me using this as an actual guide. So then we'll go back onto the custom layer. We've got the tunnels. And I'm going to try and basically mirror this now. And there we go. So you can see that I'm going on the actual sides here. But that doesn't really matter too much. It doesn't matter too much as well if you go too far on the bottom part. And with these outside parts, I'm just going to actually turn off that annotations layer now. With these outside parts, what you kind of want to do is, otherwise it will just cut into the ground here. You want to kind of be a bit softer with it. So there we go. So it kind of spreads out a little bit there. And the same over here. And we'll see what this looks like now. So we're going to just export this out, and again just export this small part here. So yeah, that's fine. Export this one, and I'll see you guys in game to have a look at it. Okay, so this is what we've actually got, and you can see that it's not as round as I wanted to. I actually do think I went a bit too deep, or not deep enough with this, as you can see. So it's going to cut it through. We could do with going a bit deeper and kind of having a bit more rocks coming through instead of the sand, or what I'll show you guys instead is a global option to actually change this below a certain depth, and I'm actually going to just count that here. So what layer are we on now? So we're on 52. I'm going to write that down and I'll show you guys what I mean and what we'll be doing with that in just a second. But let's have a look at the actual kind of cavern. So you can see what we've kind of made. That goes around here. These walls look a little bit too kind of even. You've got these spacings of 4 and then 3. We'll try and fix that in a bit. But the roof, I think we could make it a little bit spikier. Possibly. But then again, it is a sea cave, so we don't want to go too far. But what we do need to do is round this off a little bit. And that, I think, we'll do there. We might also take a little bit of this middle out, I think. So we'll have a look at that. But one thing you can notice already, and I need to add in, actually, is dirt. Because this cave seems to be free of all dirt completely, especially when I've used that on my cliff layer. So you can see that, and then it kind of changes and it looks a little bit weird. So I'm actually going to add that in. I also need to smooth these out a little bit, so I'm going to put that up to possibly 15. But that already gives you an idea of how you can actually go about it. And again, you've got this little weird bit here where it changes the terrain, and especially if you can see through the water, it looks a bit weird. So I'll fix that as well. So let's jump in. And I'm just going to edit this a little bit. So we're going to grab that custom layer again. I think I need to cut into here just a tad. Roughen this up a bit. And I'm just roughening that up there. And what we're going to do is going to right click and edit. And I'm going to turn that up to 15 or 17. Let's try 17. Let's go a bit crazier. And the walls are the one we notice the most without that dirt in it. So I'm just going to add material dirt. And yeah, 100 would do. That'll be fine. There we go. Easy fix. So we're going to have a look at that. Also, the ceiling, I kind of want it a little bit spiky, I think. So I'm going to just, variation scale, I'm going to whack that up to about 9. And have a look at that. So now we're going to also do that global option, kind of global thing as well, just to make this bottom layer kind of darker. At the minute, it's mainly this sand going down, and then you've got grass over here, as it's saying there. So we're going to go to Edit, and Global Operations, and Fill with Terrain Type, and we're going to do Permadirt. Again, if you're on 1.6, it won't work, but if you're on 1.7, it will. And we're going to do At or Below, and the one that I wrote down was 54, so we're going to do At or Below 54, and okay, just go, and it's done. If you've got a massive map, it can take quite a while. On my kind of other map, it took ages. So let's render this out, and let's have a look, see if that kind of rounding has fixed some of those bits, and also adding a little bit extra has fixed those as well. Okay, so this is looking a little bit better. So it's rounded it off quite a bit, so we can actually probably increase the height of that. And you can just see there's one piece of glowstone, so that doesn't matter too much, but I think that looks a lot better than what we had before. It is quite round. I'm still not crazily happy about those parts here. It kind of goes a bit rocky and then just fades out. But you can see what the dirt's actually done by doing it underneath that layer. It makes it darker. And that's kind of what we wanted. Instead of it being really bright with the sand, you can obviously see this. It made it darker. But what you could do to fade this in is actually make kind of like, get a spikes brush or something like that. A spiky brush. Raise up some of this bottom terrain and do the kind of above 60 degrees, for example. And apply it just to an underwater layer to actually fit that in. That'll work. Also, I just want to show you guys this with my cliff kind of terrain preset. That rock looks pretty cool. It probably could do with being a bit rockier and painting underneath as well, because that looks a bit weird. But that is a really weird brush anyway, and it does cut off there. And that one actually looks kind of cool. I kind of like that, except for the sand. But there we go. That looks pretty good. So that's pretty much it for the tutorial, to be honest. There's not really too much to it. It's a very simple kind of way to do it using the cave layer. I would, if I was kind of really editing this, I'd probably bring this side out to about here, like the actual cave kind of part of it. So I'd have the cave mouth going here, and I'd also put the height up as well to here, because I kind of like it to look like it's supposed to, you know, almost falling down. So that's kind of what I'd do. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this world painter tutorial on how to make a sea arch. If you have, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.